Hey guys, welcome back to It's 420 Somewhere. It's Monday, a new week has begun, and we have a couple stories for you today. This is kind of going to be what's nice about having done this podcast for a few weeks now. We can do some callbacks to some stories that we've already done. So we have two stories that we have already talked about, and we're gonna, talk about some updates and where they are now. So the first story is going to be about the White House firings that have happened over the past couple weeks and the blowback around that. It seems to be something that's just not going away, and the main reason for that is because there's just such a lack of transparency, and they are not getting into specifics of why they were fired. And to remind you of what the story was, there were 5 staff members of the White House who were fired because of past marijuana use. However, Jen Psaki, the press secretary, says that there are other reasons for their firings. There were other hard drugs that were involved, but again, no clarifications on what these drugs were. That's the original story. It started to blow up more and more on the press, and there were eventually 30 congressmen who signed a letter asking for more clarification on why these people were fired. There has been no clarification yet. However, a few more points were sent to Brian Karem of Playboy magazine for some reason. The 2 points were, no one has been let go due to marijuana usage from years ago. No one has been let go due to casual or infrequent use during the prior 12 months. The policy has allowed around a dozen White House staff to continue serving in the administration who would not have been permitted under prior administration's policies. Sure, that's all great and everything, but you know how people react much more strongly to negative news than positive news. So this isn't going to do much because, again, there's not much clarification and there's not much specifics into why these people were fired. Beyond that, it seems that the White House is making it very clear that they won't completely take this or strip this away from their policies until there is no longer a federal ban or federal prohibition of marijuana, which who knows when that'll be, 2025. I gotta cut that part.
Let me first say that what we tried to do as an administration was work with the security service, who actually makes these determinations about suitability for serving in government. In the past, and I served in the Obama-Biden administration, the rules were actually far more stringent. So that isn't about anyone's personal point of view. It's about working through the process, the history, and modernizing it and taking steps to address the fact that marijuana is legal in a number of states across the country. It is still illegal federally, right? We know that. There were, as I noted, I think in our comment last week, 5 individuals who are no longer employed at the White House. A number of them, there were other security issues that were raised. And that's an unfortunate conclusion, of course, but what we tried to do is enable additional members of the team who would not have been able to continue serving in past administrations to continue serving by updating our policy in coordination with the security service.
And the next bit of our episode today is going to be, again, about Demi Lovato. She's come out very publicly recently to say that her form of rehabilitation has been more on the alternative side, where it's been much less about cold turkey sobriety and sticking to that absolute. And there's a form of moderation that she's doing where she smokes weed along with drinking some alcohol, and does both in moderation and keeps her kind of, in her words, sane. Well, not in her words, but like she would agree with that. I don't have much to say about this one. I find it very fascinating because I do believe there are other options out there beyond sobriety, because the idea of this huge steep hill to climb to sobriety for some people is just too much, and when they're on that hill, it's almost unbearable and it's very unhappy, and the idea of relapse becomes a more pleasing thing. So moderation, when done correctly and when done in a way that is open with communication and having a strong support group around you, it can work just as well, if not better, for some people. And Demi Lovato seems to be one of those people. So here are a couple clips from her when she was just recently on Joe Rogan talking about this experience, and I'll leave the episode with this footage. So I'll just sign off now and say we'll see you back on Wednesday.
What I read about you is that you think of yourself now as California sober. Mm-hmm. Like, please tell me what the fuck California sober is.
It's a term that a lot of people use to identify this path of moderation with the help of some green plants. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
And so green is the key word. And that's that. I had been told so many times by people in recovery or treatment team, whatever, not this treatment team, but a different one, that if I picked up that I would die. And I thought to myself, what kind of life am I living if I'm miserable 24/7, and if I feel like the bottom is going to drop out, I'm going to die? Like, that's not really a life to live. And so I thought, what if there's some sort of relief in between that's not going to kill me, that's not, I don't know, super dangerous? You know, what is it? And I thought, well, I live in California. You know, why not a little weed? And so I tried it, and it wasn't so bad. And I began to appreciate what it could do for me. It stopped me from going to the other things. A lot of people say that weed is a gateway drug, but what people don't know is that it can also be a drug that can provide a little bit of relief for people who feel like when they get that low, they're either going to pick up something really dark, really heavy, or something more ominous, you know.